This is WB39 News at 10 o'clock, live from the NBC6 studio with Willie Shepherd and Jackie Nesbrough.
Tonight's top story is police look into a possible chop shop, but they find a major arsenal at a school teacher's house.
An angry confrontation, then one man gets out from behind the wheel and behind a gun. Plus,
I'm Rosie Gonzalez, live at a DUI checkpoint. The reason? Independence Day is one of the worst holidays when it comes to drinking and driving. I'll have the story in a live report.
And from a high-flying fantasy to real fascination in a live report on the interest tonight in aliens. Good evening and welcome to your new choice at 10 o'clock.
A South Florida school teacher and his son are under arrest tonight after police go to their home and find a major stash of weapons. The stockpile included automatic rifles, silencers, even pipe bombs. Hank Tester went to the house and he brings us the story.
Some serious firepower and the makings for pipe bombs. This is just part of an arsenal taken from a South Dade home. What federal authorities uncovered might be a sophisticated weapons factory.
Was the machinery in the house, that lathes and things like that could manufacture the silencers?
Yes, silencers, favorites for mob hits. The ATF checking for connections with militias. And the pamphlets, one of them entitled How to Kill, another about Nazi uniforms. Arrested 60-year-old Stephen Chase and his 30-year-old son Christopher. Stephen Chase is a veteran Dade County school teacher. His current assignment right here at the Kelsey L. Farr Elementary School.
99.999% of all teachers are unbelievably great people to work with kids. It's that 0.1% that destroys the image of 19,000 teachers.
The home that contained the walk-in closet arsenal was targeted by Metro cops because of reports of a chop shop operation.
Pretty certain that there was a chop shop operation, but we didn't realize or even think that there was any arms kind of problems there.
When the Metro cops came to investigate the alleged chop shop, they spotted the weapons, and they called the feds. Hank Tester, WB39 News at 10.
An argument between two drivers takes a violent, then a deadly turn. An act of road rage leaves one man dead tonight. Two groups of people, one in a van, another in a Lexus, stopped at a light on Northwest 21st Street. Two men reportedly got out of the Lexus and started beating the driver of the van. Metro police tell us the van's drivers, or the son of the van's driver, got out to help the third person in the Lexus, but he had a club in his hand. Then witnesses say the van's driver pulled out a gun and then shot one of the three men that was in the car.
It appears there was some type of a traffic dispute. This all occurred in the middle of 27th Avenue. If there were blows exchanged, exactly what happened, we're still investigating. But it turned out that someone fired a handgun and killed the man that was apparently in the red Lexus.
The man shot was killed. The van's driver was the only one in custody tonight. We'll have much more on this story in a live report on NBC6 at 11.
a South Florida babysitter is charged with 2 counts of child abuse. Police say she repeatedly slapped the young children in her care. The victims are a 1-year-old little boy and his 3-year-old sister. Metro-Dade police provided these photos and put tape over the children's eyes to protect their identities. The children's mother says she had to take the children to the hospital because their bruises were so bad. Police say their babysitter, there she is, 21-year-old Leslie Ann Couture, has admitted to striking the children. The South Florida teen charged with killing his twin baby brother and sister may never stand trial for their deaths. Today, a judge ruled Antonio Ramos is not competent to stand trial. You may remember the teenager threw the 4-month-old babies off their Kendall apartment balcony last month. Ramos is autistic and suffers from cerebral palsy. Now the question is, what will happen to him?
The only thing I want for my son is that they put him in a place where he will be safe, where he can't do any more harm, because he's a little angel. What they're doing to him is torturing him little by little. Enough. Let him die already. Then God can take him away and he can rest so that he doesn't suffer anymore.
The judge says he will hold another hearing next week to determine Ramos' fate.
12-year-old boy hit by a car 2 days ago was laid to rest today. Brandon Levy died after getting hit while crossing an intersection Tuesday night. Traffic lights at that intersection were not working because of a power failure. His friends have turned part of the intersection into a makeshift memorial. Well, each year, hundreds of thousands of South Florida residents hit the road on Independence Day.
But a surprising statistic shows it's the most hazardous holiday of all for drinking and driving. Rosie Gonzalez is live at a drunk driving checkpoint on the MacArthur Causeway with more on the story. Rosie?
That's right, Jackie. The 4th of July holiday is actually one of the deadliest when it comes to alcohol-related crashes. That's why DUI checkpoints like this one are set up in an effort to change all those numbers. Now, this checkpoint is on the MacArthur Causeway, and it will run till 1 o'clock this morning. This is a joint effort by a variety of police agencies. They're trying to nab those drivers who have been drinking in hopes that the deadly statistics can be turned around. Fireworks, fanfare, and barbecues, all part of the 4th of July festivities, but usually alcohol is part of the mix. Generally, we think of New Year's as the time to avoid all those drunk drivers on the road, but statistics paint a different picture. During a 4-year period, New Year's drunk driving accidents claimed the lives of more than 900 people, while during the 4th of July, more than 1,500 deaths were blamed on alcohol. In-part experts say it's because it's warmer now. People are on the roads longer to visit family or friends during the holiday, and the drinking goes on from afternoon to evening.
You have a lot of non-drinkers that typically don't drink, but they drink because of parties and get-togethers, and then they drive home, they get involved in crashes.
On Florida's roadways in the past 5 years, there have been more than 70 deaths related to drinking on this holiday.
I'm really questioning whether or not I want to go out tomorrow night.
Mercy Rodriguez-Fowler made a choice years ago to get in the car with someone. When they lost control of the car, she was ejected, leaving her paralyzed. Life that took years to get back on track. Married for 4 years, expecting a baby, she wonders, had she stayed out of that car, how her life may be different.
I never blame a substance in a bottle because it can't hurt anyone. It's when you choose to drink it that you hurt yourself, and when you make the choice to drive that we're all at risk.
Thoughts that Mercy hopes drivers will keep in mind as they hit the roads this weekend. Now, on this DUI checkpoint so far, one person has already been arrested while driving under the influence. That's the charge against him. And at least 3 other people have been arrested on other charges. Now, this DUI checkpoint, like we said, is going to go on till 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 1 o'clock this morning. And in the past, sometimes police agencies have mentioned where these DUI checkpoints are going to be, but the Florida Highway Patrol says this year they're going to use the element of surprise to catch those people who have been drinking and driving. Reporting live on the MacArthur Causeway, Rosie Gonzalez, WB 39 News at 10.
Okay, thank you, Rosie. Now, of course, July 4th can also be a hazardous holiday out on the water. Last year, more people were killed on Florida waterways in July than in any other month. Most accidents happen between 2 and 4 o'clock in the afternoon. That's why the Florida Marine Patrol will be out in force, and they're asking you to, of course, be very careful tomorrow. Well, this holiday is also a big one for air travel. Miami International Airport officials say they expect about 100,000 people to pass through the airport each day. That's up from the usual 75,000.
The battle is over. Abortion is heating up in Florida tonight due to 2 new developments. First, a West Palm Beach judge is putting a new measure called the Women's Right to Know law on hold. The law would require doctors to give women seeking abortions a long list of procedures and alternatives. But activists on both sides of the abortion issue claim the law is too vague. The state attorney general could file an appeal of the injunction, or abortion advocates could take the case to trial to try to have the law deemed unconstitutional. In a related story, Florida could soon be a testing site for the French abortion pill RU486. A small abortion rights group announced that it will give out the pill to 10,000 women in several states, including Florida, as part of a research trial. The specific hospitals and clinics taking part in the trial are expected to be announced in the next couple of weeks.
Well, NASA scientists have high hopes for a stellar mission to Mars.
A remote-controlled robot is about 15 hours away from reaching the red planet. Plus,
I'm Nikki Mohan. That mission to Mars is the real deal, but so is alien fascination here on Earth. I'll turn your eyes to the sky with a live report.
Hey, you don't need a 21-gun salute when you fire this thing. A look at the 4th of July in uniform coming up. We'll be right back.
You're watching WB 39 News at 10 o'clock. You're watching WB 39 News at 10 o'clock.
You're watching an animated look into the future, about 15 hours ahead.
Around 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, the Pathfinder spacecraft should land on the surface of Mars after 7 months in space. The crew of 200 working on the Pathfinder project back here on Earth is on pins and needles. The ship will slow from 19,000 miles an hour in space to about 55 miles an hour when it hits the surface, surrounded by huge airbags. Then the Mars rover hits the road, photographing the planet's surface. And speaking of space, everything is going smoothly for astronauts on board Columbia.
The crew of the Space Shuttle Columbia is hard at work tonight in the space lab that they have on board there. They are working in shifts to operate 33 scientific experiments during their 16-day mission. It's one of the longest shuttle flights ever. Now, these are the same experiments that they couldn't finish last April when their trip was cut short in space due to electrical problems. A high-flying merger, right here on Earth. America's biggest defense contractor got even bigger today. Lockheed Martin Corporation announced that it was buying the number 6 maker of weapons, Northrop Grumman. The power pack companies build the F-16 fighter, Trident, and MX missiles, and also stealth bombers. Now, 5 years ago, the conglomerate was still 5 different companies, but this mega merger reportedly does not mean layoffs. In fact, Lockheed plans to hire about 2,000 more engineers coming out of college this year.
A workplace shooting takes the life of a California plastic surgeon, and that tops our look around the nation tonight. A gunman walked into the doctor's office in Petaluma, California, and opened fire. The doctor was killed, and a woman was hit and seriously hurt. She's fighting for her life tonight. Witnesses say they saw the gunman drive away from the scene, but so far there are no arrests in the case.
Hollywood has its eye on the sky with an invasion of alien movies.
You guys get along all right?
That unearthly interest is getting stronger right here in South Florida.
And the men in uniform put the bang in your favorite 4th of July music.
Tonight, storms roll through South Florida, thunder everywhere and elsewhere across the country, from Minnesota to Michigan, and tonight in Massachusetts. Deadly storms all up and down the Northeast. We'll have the latest tonight.
You're watching WB39 News at 10 o'clock. You're watching WB39 News at 10 o'clock.
Another blockbuster movie hits the big screen, but this time it's fun and games.
But once again, it's a sci-fi alien adventure, and some people are taking it very seriously this summer. Hollywood is making big bucks off the mystery of UFOs.
Millions of people across the country are searching the skies, trying to fulfill their alien fascination, and thousands are right here in South Florida. Nikki Mohan hopefully has her feet firmly planted on the ground in our Broward newsroom, and she joins us now live with the story. Nikki?
I do, Jackie. Do you? Well, if you've ever wondered where the aliens are on Earth, just check the box office. Just in time for Roswell, we have a massive invasion on hand. Now, stargazers and UFO lovers can catch Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones in this weekend's opener, Men in Black, and also they can catch Jodie Foster in Contact, which will follow soon. But the human fascination with the extraterrestrial and extraordinary has peaked in the past few years. At the same time, scientists are breaking new ground. This is the 50th year since the alleged crash in Roswell, New Mexico. And it is the same year that we are actively looking for life in Mars, a journey that could answer the question for many, is there life out there?
Most people, I would say, are into outer space because of the aliens. They believe extraterrestrials are out in space somewhere and are listening in on conversations on Earth. I really don't believe that. I just think that outer space is a place where we can explore and learn more things.
It's an interesting question whether or not there really is life in outer space, and it's an answer that we haven't come across yet. I hope that I can live long enough to find out.
Now, if he lives until tomorrow, he can find out the outcome of the Mars expedition. But he doesn't have to go as far as New Mexico to join with other gazers. Right here in South Florida, there are many people that are always looking into the sci-fi and looking into outer space. And I will have a special report at 11 on NBC6. Live in Pembroke Park, Nikki Mohan, WB39 News at 10.
Okay, Nikki, thank you. Willard?
All right, our weather watch for you tonight. 1 month into the hurricane season, there is now a powerful new tool to help deal with any emergencies this season. The new Broward County Emergency Operations Center opened its doors in Plantation today. The center is designed for any emergency, but in the event of a hurricane or any severe tropical storm this season, it will become the nerve center for rescue operations. The building, of course, is heavily anchored. No windows there, so they're ready for anything that may happen this year.
Okay, and of course, we are on the eve of July 4th.
Hopefully it'll be a good day. Marty Skoll with us tonight. Marty?
We are certainly hoping that it will be a good day across our region, although tonight, very stormy activity. Some of these storms are very intense. In fact, 57-mile-an-hour winds were clocked at the National Weather Service, and most of those locations were not only seeing very strong winds, but very heavy rains indeed. Let's take a look across our region right now. A temperature of 79 degrees. Winds are calm, rainfall 1/100th of an inch of rain. Now, locations across the south have been seeing some very heavy thunderstorms indeed. Most locations across the region are seeing the thunderstorms right now over in lower Monroe County, a few left over in Dade County, but right now we're seeing the calm after the storm because earlier today very strong storms came their way from Broward on into Dade, downing trees, power lines, bringing very heavy amounts of rain, and those winds that were clocked up to 57 miles an hour. Well, earlier in the week, we had what was called Tropical Storm Anna. Today, she lost her name. She is barely a depression right now, still heading her way well off into the Atlantic up to the northeast, and as she goes off into those cooler waters, will completely lose any tropical characteristics, coming what we call extratropical. But look what's left behind down to the south in the Bahamas. They are picking up some storms on the tail edge of her, and also we are seeing some storms of our own here, the convergence between the sea breeze and a westerly flow. That's going to continue to be the case. If you are traveling for the 4th of July, and a lot of people will be, we will see storms fire up once again tomorrow here in the southeast. The northeast tonight is seeing incredible storms, the same ones that started earlier in the week in Minnesota, went through Michigan last night, are in Massachusetts with tornadoes tonight. Winds of up to 100 miles an hour left damage like this across portions of metropolitan Detroit. This tornado and very strong damaging straight line winds caused damage like this all throughout southern Michigan. Many homes, as you see, completely demolished. Hundreds of families are without homes tonight. In fact, the governor is calling the state of Michigan a state of emergency. Well, certainly very strong storms in the Midwest and the Northeast. What can we expect? Let's see our forecast. First of all, as far as boaters are concerned, winds out of the southwest around 10 knots, surf temperature at 84 degrees. Overnight, a few storms will be left, an overnight low of 78. Tomorrow, once again, sun and clouds, late storms. Actual temperature high by tomorrow afternoon. Look at this, 95 degrees. Couple that with the humidity. Feels like index will be closer to 110. We'll go from the mid-90s back down to 90 by Monday over that long holiday weekend, and then back down to 89 for a high on Thursday. So temperatures eventually are going to be getting back to normal, which is 89. But be careful in all the heat tomorrow and watch for those late-day storms firing up. Have a safe 4th. Back to you.
Okay,
you
thanks,
too, Marty. Thank you.
Well, the men in uniform get behind the big band sounds of the holiday season.
And they really do deliver a bang for their buck. That's coming up next.
Plus, Tiger Woods hits the links and hits another stellar round.
And if you love to ski, keep your eyes peeled for this furry fan of water sports under your feet. That's coming up next.
You're watching WB39 News at 10 o'clock.
The group that puts the boom in the nation's biggest July 4th celebration is getting ready for tomorrow.
That's right. The Independence Day tradition is something you truly have to hear to appreciate. Well, officially, they're known as the Old Guard Guns Platoon. The Army soldiers really quick on the draw at polishing, loading, and firing these anti-tank World War II guns. They do it right on cue. You can hear them thunder as the fireworks fly and the National Symphony Orchestra plays, and for a few minutes, the weapons of war become musical instruments.
Must be really incredible to watch.
Yeah, I wasn't aware that they had that set
I'd
up
like to see that one day. The Marlins and the Big Apple.
That's right. Let's go over to Guy Rawlings. Guy?
You know, that's exactly right. In fact, that's exactly what I was going to say. The Marlins Roadshow moves to the Big Apple. A limited appearance on Broadway. 4 games with the New York Mets before the All-Star break. Florida playing like All-Stars early on. 8 runs in the first 2 innings. They now lead the Mets 10-3 in the 8th. Dennis Cook will have some extra time off before the All-Star game. The Marlins reliever was suspended 2 games for throwing at Andres Galarraga on May 31st. Cook's suspension was originally 3 games, but after an appeal hearing, the penalty was cut to 2. Now to the American League best. Baltimore taking on Detroit. The Tigers' Melvin Nieves goes over the top, robbing Cal Ripken of some glory. Glove hurts, I guess. But Jeffrey Hammonds puts this one out of reach. The solo shot to left, giving the Birds an 8-zip lead. Baltimore wins this one 10-1. Boris Becker won his first of 3 Wimbledon championships at the ripe old age of 17, but the former king of the grass court announced his retirement today, right after he faced the current king of swing in the men's quarterfinals, Pete Sampras, using the serve and volley to perfection, taking the first set 6-1. Becker rallies back. If it'll work for you, it can work for me. Serve and volley for the second set, 7-6. But Sampras swinging his way into the semifinals. Becker's backhand too strong on match point. He loses for the last time on center court, 6-1, 6-7, 6-1, and 6-4. Sweet 16s in today's women's semifinal. Swiss Miss Martina Hingis facing the teen queen Anya Kournikova. Hingis breaking Kournikova's serve 6 straight times. Detroit Red Wing Russian Sergei Fedorov pulling for countryman Kournikova, but Hingis says, "Das vidanya, comrade," putting the team queen away on match point. The Swiss Miss will face Jana Novotná in the finals. Last night, WNBA star Rebecca Lobo received her 100th straight win dating back to her college days with the UConn Huskies. Lobo keeping the New York Liberty undefeated. The Cleveland Rockers hosting the LA Stars. Cleveland's Janice Braxton with the running jumper in the paint and one. Rockers trail by 6 at the break. Second half, Lisa Leslie grabs a loose ball, stops just inside the three-point line, and drops some game on them. What are you doing? There's no crying in basketball. Lisa Leslie's in a league of her own, finishing with 19. Stars win 74-62. Tiger Woods back on the course today in first round action of the Western Open, singing the birdie on 17 and finishing 5 under for the day. That's only 1 shot behind Mark O'Meara, leading at 6 under par. That'll do it for sports. Back to Will and Jackie.
All right, thanks, Scott. Well, you may be spending the 4th of July weekend out on the water.
Perhaps you'll even try a little water skiing. The question is, do you have the moves like this little guy? Meet Twiggy, the squirrel, who's serious about water skiing. The athletic animal seems to love all the attention as she glides on the water like the pro pet she is. Twiggy is performing at a South Carolina 4th of July festival this weekend.
Ooh, a lot of talent there.
Absolutely. Time for us to say goodnight. Married with Children's coming up next.
You have a great 4th of July. We'll see you tomorrow.
Have a great night.